Hello, Nate here with the Volunteer Tech Vlog on the Live Sound 101 YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. I record these videos on Wednesdays and Fridays, or I upload them on Wednesdays and Fridays. And I talk about Live Sound, Pro Audio, just give a candid take on it on this channel. And I also have the Live Sound 101 video series, which was started on the Big Nate 84 channel, and that's an 8-part series right now. I will be expanding it. I will be adding more parts to that video, and that's a more polished, well-produced video series that aims to explain the basics of live sound to somebody brand new, because that's kind of the position I find myself in, is looking around my community, trying to train brand new people how to do live sound. So I figured let's do a video series on it, and then a vlog to go with that video series. And this channel was spun off from the Big Nate 84 channel, from that Live Sound 101 playlist over there. So I'll be picking up with part 9 on this channel at some point. This video is going to be, I'm going to be talking about using a lavalier microphone. So like right now, whether you can see it or not. Actually, before I get driving, let me just... All right, so somehow my fat fingers hit a button and it stopped recording. So anyway, just so you see what I'm talking about here. Oh, if I can get my thumb out of the way. We've got horrible lighting here, but when I talk about a lavalier, oh, you can see up my nose there too. That's a great shot. Jeez. I'm not a video guy, am I? More of an audio guy. So you see that right there, that little clip-on guy? Got a little clippy? That's what they call a lavalier style microphone. And really, the lighting is awful. The lighting is awful. I can't get this shot framed very well, but I'm not going to take it off because it's already clipped on and I'm ready to go. But this is what I'm talking about when I talk about a lavalier style microphone. It's a little clip-on microphone that some people call them a lapel microphone. It's clipped to the lapel. Now typically I have this thing kind of like hidden up here, tucked away. That's usually like up until like this week, up until this video and the last video, I've just had it kind of tucked up in here. So it's been pretty close to my mouth, but if I put it here, I can get it a lot closer to kind of like the corner of my mouth. That's like the sweet spot for recording, for microphoning a person. So you probably notice, even when I put this thing up like this and hold it, it's like right close to my mouth. You probably hear the difference in this video right now versus if I go like this. Just that little difference can have a big impact, and especially the fact that I'm driving. There's going to be road noise. I think if I go to like a head-worn microphone that kind of like loops up, they call it an ear set mic. If I get an ear set that hangs off my ear, I can pretty much ensure that microphone stays here no matter where I put my head or whatever. And I think that actually might be the big secret, or the big trick to reducing road noise in this video. Although the road noise I don't think is all that bad, but it's definitely there. So we're going to talk about lapel microphones and kind of just some basic logistics about how to mic somebody up with one of these clip-on lavalier or lapel microphones. But with that, let's drive. Oh, so I do record these videos in the car. I talk as if you kind of came along for a ride in my vehicle, and I've got to focus on the road. I've got to just like anybody else would. So probably see some distractions along the way. I think last video, flock of ugly looking birds, I think they were turkeys or something, almost came out in front of my car, so that kind of distracted me for a little while. So there is a little bit of that, and that comes with the territory, recording videos in the car. But it seems like I found a good, safe way to do it, where I get everything set up ahead of time, press record, and then I'm off. I'm not really thinking about the camera. I'm not thinking about any of the technology. I'm just focused on driving and then chatting with you. So that's kind of my take here. So this is a perfect example, since I'm actually using a lapel microphone. Now I should mention the microphone that I'm using here. So I'm using the RODE Smart Lav Plus. And I picked this microphone for one reason. It has a 3.5 millimeter jack connector. So it plugs directly into my Samsung Galaxy S5. And I picked that for basically, this microphone was not picked because I thought it particularly sounded awesome or anything like that. Really, the main point was to extend the microphone of my phone and get it closer to my mouth to pick up less road noise. That was the kind of the whole idea. And it's got like a perfect length cable. It's got like, I don't know, 3.5 foot cable. And it's got that 3.5 millimeter connector. And it's got the clip. It comes with the clip, so I can clip it right to my collar. And the other big reason for that choice was the workflow. So workflow is a huge part of, you know, business or, you know, anything these days. I mean, the workflow is, there's so many different tools, especially in the digital world, and products coming out that can improve and enhance workflow. And for me, this was just the simplest way. I thought about getting a condenser mic in here. I thought about, you know, getting like a little mini mic pre and like a little mini mixer, and trying to power it off of the lighter. And I could, maybe I could get like a really high quality, you know, microphone, but it would need, you know, batteries, and then I'd have to replace the batteries. And okay, that's kind of a pain, but I guess I could do it. And because I mean, I've gotten comments. They're like, Nate, this is a live sound. This is a pro audio channel. How come your audio is so poor, right? And well, it's because I'm in a car. It's pretty tough to get good audio in a car, especially if you're not going to spend any money on. I mean, I think this mic was like, it was less than $100. I think it was like $60 or $70, and you know, I was willing to spend that, but I wasn't going to invest in like this whole portable mini rig to record in the car, because we're in a car, and even if I got it sounding awesome and picked up everything as clear as possible, we're in a car at the end of the day. So, you know, I thought about different things. I thought about different workflows, and this was just the path of least resistance. This was the cheapest, you know, cost-effective way to get me a really good workflow that was slightly better than just the standard microphone that's built into the phone. So I'm using the Smart Lav, the RODE Smart Lav Plus, and for what it is, it works fine. It is. You know what? It's funny. It doesn't even mention the pickup pattern on the microphone, and it doesn't mention whether it's dynamic or condenser. But because what you can have is you can have a constant charge condenser, or an electret, I believe it's called, condenser microphone, where there is a component inside the microphone that normally gets, you know, phantom power or battery power, but they can put in a fixed charge. I think it's a fixed charge. Oh, I can't remember the name of the actual electrical component, but there's like plates inside of the actual microphone electronics, and one of those plates has a fixed charge of a, you know, certain amount of voltage, and essentially, it's a condenser microphone that doesn't need power because it's got this fixed charge plate, but that actually fades out over time, so they actually can go bad, versus a condenser microphone that receives 48 volt phantom power or battery power from a pack. So it could be one of those in there, or it could be I don't think it would be a dynamic microphone, because if it was a dynamic microphone, I think it would need to have a preamp somewhere. I don't know. So I'm not actually, you know, your guess is as good as mine. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. There's no pickup pattern on the packaging. There was no, nothing that I can remember anyway. Go back and watch my RODE unboxing video where I opened it up, you know, a year ago or whatever. So it's an interesting one to use in this video as an example, because I can't even talk very specifically about exactly what's going on. But I'm sure smarter folks than me can look at the microphone and identify exactly what it is. So anyway, got that mic clipped on here. And one of the things you need to think about when you're clipping a microphone onto somebody is plosives. So your P's, when you say the letter P, a puff of air comes out of your mouth. That's called a plosive. And this is why you'll have things to prevent that, like those filters that you put in front of a mic, the pop filters is what they're called. So you might see this big round thing in front of a microphone that if somebody's singing into, and it's like this kind of big foamy thing. That's called a pop filter. Some microphones have them like built in or come with them. But if you're using a clip-on mic, a lavalier, it's probably got a little windscreen, but it's not going to have a big pop filter. So one of the things you want to do when you're placing this microphone, and that's why I always say the corner of the mouth, right here around the edge, that corner of the mouth is the best possible space, because it's out of that puff of air. It's out of that plosive range, if you will. It's off to the side a little bit, so you're getting all the nuance of the human voice that you're picking up as the tongue is forming the words, and the lips and the mouth is moving and doing its thing. You're hearing all those subtle nuances, those subtle details. You're picking up all that clarity in the voice. You're getting all the loudness because you're right up there, right where the sound is coming out of. But you're slightly off to the side, the corner of the mouth, so you're not getting any of the air or any of the spit that is flying out of there, hopefully. I mean, I guess you could get some spit kind of ricocheting off to the side. So that's something to think about. But you do want to think about this, and this is big in church tech, because a lot of times this microphone, you'll notice it's up on the lapel, hence lapel. I guess it's technically my collar. I guess a lapel would be like if I had like a suit on, the lapel would be over here. But the whole idea is to get it as close to that little bubble, right, the corner of the mouth, as possible. And I mentioned the church tech world, because what happens if I pretend that I am a pastor or a reverend or a preacher, and I have this microphone, and let's say it's not clipped off to the side here, up on the collar. Let's say I clipped it right in the middle, because most people have a button-down shirt, and it's just convenient to snip that thing and clip it on right here in the middle. Now, if I'm a preacher, what do I tend to do? I tend to pray, and I look down when I pray. I tend to read from a hymnal or a Bible, and if I do that, then I'm also looking down. Right now, I'm going to be paying attention to the road because I'm going by construction area there. So you tend to look down, and when you look down, those plosives can come down. And I've heard this many times, where you've got the microphone, the lavalier microphone, picking up these pops, and sometimes it can be super distracting. So that's something you want to think of when you're clipping this microphone on. You want to think, okay, what is this person doing? Everything is task based. You know what I mean? If it really depends on the task. I mean, right here on your in the middle of your shirt might be perfectly fine for certain tasks. Maybe for a news anchor, maybe that's a good decision. But if it's a preacher and they're doing like a wedding ceremony or something, they're going to be looking down, reading vows and stuff like that, you want to think about that. You also want to think about the pickup pattern of the microphone that you're working with. Is it omni? Is it unidirectional or directional or cardioid? These are all things that you want to consider when you're going to clip that microphone onto somebody. Now let's talk about, so a lot of times you'll see these microphones on news anchors, and one thing that you'll notice is that oftentimes that microphone will be facing down, and you might think, why are they facing that microphone down? Now I can't so this microphone's facing up. I've chosen to point it up towards my mouth. I'm not even 100% sure what the pickup pattern is. I think it's an Omni, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. I got to do more testing to really determine that. But what I would surmise is if you're watching the news, you see a news anchor, and they got that microphone clipped, and it looks like it's facing down. I would guess that it's an Omni microphone, and they're trying to avoid getting any type of plosives. That's kind of the thinking, because an Omni microphone picks up sound equally from a sphere all the way around it. So it doesn't matter. It's not favored one direction where you can point it this way or point it that way. It's like it just picks up sound from all angles. So that's what I would guess. Maybe there's another reason. Maybe the broadcast folks, if there's any broadcast folks watching this, can chime in on that. But oftentimes I will see that microphone downward. And a lot of times too, I'll see two sets of clip-on microphones, right? And I've never used two on a single person. The only thing I can think of is that if you're doing a live broadcast, you just want redundancy built in so that you can switch to the backup mic, with the push of a button, just in case something goes wrong or a battery, dies or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of. So considerations with lavalier placement is the biggest. Think of the tasks the person's going to be doing. Think of where those plosives are going to be aimed at. Think of the directionality. Do you need, are they going to be walking around right near a speaker, and you want to be able to explain to the person that maybe it's not a great idea to go walk right up over to the corner here because there could be risk of feedback. Things like that. Think about where that mic's going to be in the room and how it responds in the room. But yeah, this is a great case for those ear set microphones, as from Countryman, from DPA. Expensive. They are expensive, but they do sound amazing. We've got some Countryman ear set style microphones, and they sound great. So anyway, that was my little audio lesson for today about lavalier microphones, where to plug them in. What else could I mention? Oh, the other thing that's big when you talk about microphones like this one that's clipped here. So when I first started off this video, I talked about how I picked this one because it plugged into my phone, and it was a no-brainer for my workflow, so I don't have to do post-production. Because honestly, if I had to do post-production, probably wouldn't be making these videos. So the whole thing about this workflow is I record the video to my phone, I add in my little overlay to get my branding in there, and then I upload it off to YouTube, and boom, I'm done. I'm not syncing up audio or worrying about time code or anything like that. It's just completely brainless, which is amazing to not have to think about that stuff, because that's like a big deal. It's like, oh, are you recording in 44.1 or 48.2 or 96 or not the frame rate. I'm totally blanking on the terminology here. You got bit depth, and you've got your sampling frequency. Sometimes my brain does not work in the morning. I notice when it's foggy out, my brain seems to also be foggy, and it's usually foggy in the morning. So connectors. So the 3.5 millimeter connector made sense here. Now you'll notice if you've got like let's see, what is it? Is it Countryman? No, I think it's Shure. So Shure, like wireless body packs, tend to have these, like, it almost looks like a mini XLR, but with 4 pins. So this is the other thing to be aware of, is that one of those pins has something called bias on it, and it's just a little bit of a different wiring scheme. And some of them are just mini XLRs with 3 pins. So you just want to be careful that when you do go to order a microphone, that you get the right microphone to match your body packs, whatever they are, 4-pin mini or 3-pin mini. We've currently got 4-pin minis because we've got a Shure ULX type system. And this actually came up as an issue because we had somebody donate the Shure ULX system that we're currently using, and when they donated it with some microphones that had 3-pin connectors and some microphones that had 4-pin. So it was funny because we were like, oh sweet, we got, you know, a couple channels of you know, wireless donated by this like local pharmaceutical company. I think it was Millennium Pharmaceutical. I don't know. I was working at HB Communications at the time, and my boss came in and said, "Hey, these people have you know, equipment they want to donate. Can they donate it to you?" And I was just like, "Sure, we'll take it." And it was like the best wireless system we ever had, and we're actually still using it to this day. So we've actually got a lot of mileage out of it. It is in the 600 megahertz range, so the FCC auction, incentives auction, I think is in stage 2 right now, and it looks like all that spectrum's going to be sold off. So we are starting to migrate down to the 500s to get out of the 600 megahertz range. But I just say that to pay attention to the connectors, because now you can get adapter cables to go from thing to thing, but then you gotta like worry about cable management. It just becomes a pain. It's just a lot easier to, you know, get the right microphone off the bat. Now Countryman has a pretty cool thing. I think it's called a Quick Connect. I think it's like, or there's some name for it, but Countryman's got this like plug system where the microphone goes to this like teeny tiny, just like, it's probably 5 or 6 millimeter, not even, it's probably less than, it's probably like 4 or 5 millimeter, this tiny little like brass ring that you just plug in, and it like, you basically, it's a disconnect where you can snap in any type of cable with a different end right to that microphone. So you can order a bunch of like cables, or if the cables get damaged, you can swap them out really easily without having to scrap the whole microphone. So luckily some of our microphones had that feature, and we didn't get spec sheets or anything with any of this stuff when it was donated, so we didn't even realize that the Countryman mics we got had that feature until, you know, I kind of did some investigation and figured that out. So that's a pretty handy feature. But yeah, that reminds me, we got to order some more adapter cables there, because we've got situations where we want to use like a lav mic or like a small form factor microphone, like on a cello. We want to clip it onto like the bridge of the cello or something like that. And right now, that microphone only has an adapter cable that goes to one of those like 4-pin XLRs, and we need an adapter that'll take it out to like a full-size barrel XLR connector. So that's a little reminder of a little adapter cable that we need to order, because we do have a cello player that comes in every once in a while, and man, there's just something inherently wrong about putting a 57 on a cello, SM57 on a cello. I mean, you can put an SM57 on almost anything, and you know it'll sound, you'll hear sound, right? But this is one of like kind of the higher level things when you get to be, you know, a more experienced sound person, is really having a good feel for what microphone suits what instrument. And I mean, you can only put a 57 on a piano for so long before you're like, that really doesn't sound like a piano. I mean, I hear something, but that's not really, that's a 57 on a piano. That's you know what I mean? You guys have been doing this for a while, understand, but hey, when you're a beginner, when you're a volunteer, you work with the tools that you have, you work with what you're comfortable with, so things like that happen. And you know, it just takes time to learn this stuff and to get better and realize, you know, what microphones sound better on pianos. I like the TLM 103. So the Neumann TLM 103 is like my favorite microphone, because you can put that thing on acoustic guitar, on piano, on vocals. It's not great for live sound. It's good for recording. But I really, that's like one of my favorite microphones, because I just feel like it captures everything transparently, like kind of the way it should sound. Oh boy. Well, I am in traffic now, so I will unclip this little Mikey dude. Can I do that? Can I unclip him? No, I can't. I can't really see what I'm doing. I was gonna unclip the microphone and do some more tests, because this is one of the things that's hard to do a test, because I guess I'll have to compare this driving video to another driving video where I know the mic was up here. because it's really hard to do a test where I got it clipped here and then I move it up there, but that's kind of like what I want to do. And I'm in traffic, so when I stop, if I'm nimble enough, I can actually move the microphone while I'm stopped in traffic. Oh yeah, I mean, it is beautiful, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's beautiful living up here in New England. The leaves are starting to turn color. You can probably see them in the window here, but it is starting to look beautiful. But man, we got some traffic this morning and some fog, so yeah, let me see. Now the thing is, when I stop, I can go switch the microphone, but I put it up here, the road noise just went completely away. So that's a bad test too. So I'm finding it is very hard to do different tests in the car because you really want all the road noise to be there, and to change the microphone, I need a helper. I need an assistant. Where's my A2 at? All right, enough rambling for today. My name is Nate. This is the Volunteer Tech Vlog. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for listening. I imagine people listen in the background when they're doing other things and they just want to hear a volunteer perspective or an integrator perspective. And I don't do integration in the church tech world. I do integration in the medical world, actually. So that's what I'm going to go do right now. Actually, I got a deadline today. I have to get a parts list completely finished today for a hybrid operating room with a fluoroscopy equipment and all kinds of crazy heart monitors, and I think it's called an ECG hemo machine and a volcano, and they got all kinds of fancy medical devices in there that got to be integrated and signal routed so they can record and stream and all that fun stuff. So I actually don't talk about that all that much. I don't think I talk about what I do in my day job, just that I'm an integrator in the medical world. But yeah, that's what I'm working on today. So we got this room. Let's see, this one's in Munster, Indiana, this new room. And so I am in charge of picking out every piece of equipment and adapter cable and prefab cable and DisplayPort to HDMI and DVI to HDMI adapter cable and the equipment rack and all that fun stuff. Power distribution. I mean, we got tons of equipment in this rack. So we're going to need, I mean, the power budget is I mean, we're going to be pretty stacked. So I got to put 2 isolation transformers in here. Oh man, we got to have like backup systems in case something goes wrong. We got to make sure that, you know, certain portions of the system work if other portions fail, and it is fun. It keeps me on my toes. So I got to get this. The CAD drawings are almost done, so that's my saving grace. I got pretty much done with the rack elevation and the complete signal flow yesterday. So now I am going to be touching up the rack elevation, doing my final power calcs to make sure we're load balancing on our PDUs, and then I'm going to go to town on this bill of materials and crank that puppy out, do a thorough cross check, and we'll get some equipment ordered and ship some systems. That's what they pay me for. So anyway, it's a fun job. I like it. But that'll do it. Thanks for subscribing. See you in the next video.